and welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups, entrepreneurship and technology. I'm Chandra Srikanth coming to you live from India's startup capital, Bengaluru. And Krishna, it's been 1 month of demonetization while everyone was assessing, where the government failed, what the impact has been. They've come out and announced a whole slew of initiatives to really push digital payments. It clearly looks like the goalpost has shifted from black money to making India go digital, hasn't it?
Absolutely, Chandra. That is very interesting how the demonetization drive began with a very clear intent that this was meant to eradicate black money, and suddenly we find ourselves in a situation where this is all about going digital and going cashless. I'm just going to take you through some of the top announcements that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley made just about half an hour ago. Thrust on less cash society, digital transactions is the new normal, is the message that he sent out largely. He also says that IT payments will go digital, and the government is batting for digital transactions, and 30 days on, more SOPs are flowing in. There is government to give RuPay cards to Kisan card holders. There is a 0.75% discount. That's the magic number that the government has come up with, and there's a 0.5% discount on digital payments on suburban rail passes, whereas 0.75% on booking railway tickets online, 0.75% discount on buying fuel with digital, with cards and not with cash, and rail smart cards, 10% discount, 10 lakh accident insurance cover on e-tickets. A whole host of SOPs announced by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley just about less than an hour ago. 5% discount on digi payments for rail catering services, 8% discount on policy bought on LIC's portal, and 10% discount on policy bought online from PSU general insurers as well, and highway toll, 10% discount on those when you make it via digital payments. So to put into perspective, these are the top 10 announcement in terms of going digital. There you go, 0.75% discount on fuel on digital payments. That's where it all started when Finance Minister Arun Jaitley started announcing the SOPs 30 days in after the demonetization drive began. And as Chandra was rightly pointing out, when it began, it was all about eradicating black money, and now it is all about going digital and making India cashless. How does that stand 30 days into demonetization when people are still standing outside ATM and bank branches? To understand that, we do have a stellar lineup here on the show, Chandra, and to start off with, we do have Mr. Hari Menon, co-founder and CEO of BigBasket.com, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Menon, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. And we also have Mr. Mahesh Murthy, Mr. Sanjay Swamy, and we have Mr. Mrinal Sinha as well joining us on the phone. I'm going to start with Mr. Hari Menon, co-founder and CEO of Big Basket. Mr. Menon, talk to us a very clear piece de resistance from the government backing digital payments and going cashless in India. Your first thoughts?
One of the great things the government has done. Actually, I think it'll curb a lot of black money and put a lot of things in order. As far as we are concerned, from a big basket perspective, what we've seen is some phenomenal growth. Right from the day that demonetization was announced by the Prime Minister. Our business has grown for the same period last month has grown upwards of 20%. In fact, we could have potentially grown by about 30-35%. And the problem was that we didn't have enough time to gear up capacity to kind of deliver to the increased orders that we're getting. So we're seeing a lot of people basically coming online so that they can use all their digital payments. It becomes so much easier, and they don't have to use cash at all. Also seen that previously we used to have almost 50% of our customers using cash and 50% using digital payments. Now that has moved to close to about 80-20. That is 80% of our customers are using digital payments, which includes credit cards, debit cards, and wallets, and 50% of them use cards. And a lot of them have come online because they've not been able to make payments. There's been a cash crunch in the market, so people have just simply moved online because it becomes a lot easier. So it's been phenomenal, and one of the categories that's really grown for us has been the fruits and vegetables category, because that's one space, I guess, where it's been difficult for people to actually buy fresh produce from open markets and things. So we've seen a phenomenal jump actually in that specific category. The other thing that I just wanted to mention is people were thinking that we'll get constrained on supplies and stuff, but that's one thing that worked very well for us. Even prior to the announcement, we used to pay our farmers, directly into their accounts. So all the payments were also digital to farmers, thanks to all the Jandan accounts, all the farmers had. And that helped us actually, wherein we didn't see any disruption in supplies either. So overall, it's been fantastic from a business perspective, and from an economy perspective. I think this is one of the best things that's happened to the country.
Right. Sanjay Swamy, someone who really knows the payment space very well, joins us on Skype from Bengaluru. Sanjay, you heard Hari, talk about how digital payments have really taken off for Big Basket. Today we saw a slew of announcements coming from the finance minister. Do you think that this could, broad base this phenomenon, perhaps take it to the smaller cities as well, that this will not remain an urban elite phenomenon?
The big thing to remember in India is we have, while we talk about only having 25 million credit card holders, the fact is we do have 68 crores, about 680 million debit cards. So virtually every household should have a bank account and should have a debit card associated with them. Now, on the one hand, there is an issue of convenience, which is when there was a shortage of cash and people started paying digitally, which is great. But by offering the incentives and pushing the banks to building out the acceptance infrastructure so that every village with over 10,000 residents has got at least 2 point-of-sale terminals. Now what's happening is it will be more convenient and less expensive to start transacting with cash, to start transacting electronically rather than by cash. And I think the government has taken a big step here in encouraging residents and encouraging citizens to start transacting electronically, and to make this a sustainable habit by giving these incentives. So, and we are seeing over the last 30 days since this has been announced across all of our portfolio companies, whether it's Ezetap that works with Big Basket, or whether it is HapPay or Neo, which are card issuing companies, substantial increase in both demand as well as in usage. So I think in many cases, what we'll find in India is that everybody or a vast majority of the people are equipped to transact electronically because they do at least have a debit card. And by providing them the ability to transact as well as incentives, as well as simplifying the transactions online by removing the two-factor authentication needed for sub 2,000 rupees, I think these will all provide the impetus needed for us to move from the 3% digital transactions that we are to hopefully north of 10%, and then continue to move up. So we're pretty excited to see this development.
All right, Mr. Sanjay Swamy, thank you so much. Just hold on with us. We also have Harshil Mathur, co-founder of Razorpay, on the phone line waiting by. Please, Mr. Sinha, please wait. And Harshil Mathur of Razorpay and Mrinal Sinha of MobiKwik, both of them are waiting on the phone line. But please hold on, gentlemen. We do have Mr. Mahesh Murthy joining us live on Skype as well. Mr. Murthy, I'm going to ask you that straightforward question. It all started with eradicating black money, and now it is about digital payments and going digital. And we do know the levels of internet penetration in this country, and this whole argument that this will essentially help the urban elite that Chandra was just talking about. I want your thoughts at this point in time with the kind of SOPs that have been announced. Do you think that will hasten up the process? Mr. Murthy.
Okay, hi. I missed half your question, but I'm going to take a shot at it. The first thing I wanted to say is it's important for us to remember that this is an attempt to change the public dialogue, to change the narrative. Remember, demonetization was only and all about black money and only and all about terrorism. Now that it is amply evident that it has done almost nothing to black money and it has in fact made terrorism worse, I think this is an attempt to try to move it forward, saying, from black money we went to terrorism. Terrorism didn't work. We said, it will stop robberies and it will help you save yourself in case you're thugged. And that didn't work. It's coming down to saying, okay, let's build a digital cashless society. All of this is nice. We would all love to be digital. We'd all love to be cashless. But let's just get a bit of reality here. Sure, we've had the Prime Minister's office say that they're going to put 2 POS or ATM machines in every one of 1 lakh villages. But please remember, there are 6.45 lakh villages in India. What about the other 5.45 lakh villages? What happens to them, right? And just, we may have 650 million bank accounts and we may have as many debit cards, but what about all the other remaining 200-300 million people who are not yet banked and who don't have a bank account or even have a Jan Dhan account where, again, it's not.
Right. All right, Mahesh, giving a very different view there. He's been very cynical about the whole demonetization exercise in the last few weeks. But we have two players who are going to be direct beneficiaries of this move, MobiKwik and Razorpay. We have MobiKwik to begin with, which has seen a huge surge as far as MobiKwik downloads are concerned. Mrinal, talk to us about, the measures announced today by the FM. Will this further lead to a huge surge as far as digital payments are concerned?
They absolutely will. I think the measures announced give very strong incentives to both consumers and to merchants to adopt digital payments. And frankly, I think whether you are a merchant that has, a physical POS machine or not, I think people can begin accepting digital payments and all forms of digital payment easily now. MobiKwik has a solution through which, people can do that. People can download the MobiKwik app within 25 seconds and begin to accept digital payments. So yes, I think it's a very strong set of incentives aimed at both consumers, merchants, sub-merchants, all of them. They are definitely likely to make the entire ecosystem think a lot more strongly about adopting digital payments, and hopefully some of that will translate into increased business for us.
Right. Thanks for that, Mrinal. We are also going to get in Razorpay, another beneficiary of digital payments. Harshil, a lot of announcements coming in from the FM on, cheaper fuel, toll, railway tickets if you pay digital. So what opportunities do you see here now? I mean, you primarily work on the merchant side, but what opportunities do you see considering you also introduced a UPI interface on Razorpay recently?
Sure. From day one, since the demonetization move came from government, we have been very supportive. We have launched a lot of products to take advantage of this new opportunity. And we have seen a growth of 150 to 200% in our business from day one, which is right now even increasing at around 50 to 80%. I think these new set of moves will further incentivize people to transact digitally. Earlier, people were transacting digitally because they didn't have enough cash. But now with these incentives, they have more reasons to keep following that trend and keep transacting digitally. And I think railway tickets is one of the best incentive because most people do their first online transactions on IRCTC while they purchase their railway tickets. And when they have a pleasant experience there, they continue that trend and continue following that habit. So, and especially things like no service tax on less than 2,000 rupees card transactions will also incentivize merchants to further use card-based payments and online payments to accept payments at their shops. And I think at Razorpay, we launched a lot of initiatives as well to support the offline merchants to start accepting digital payments like ePOS and eCOD, where we are seeing significant adoptions. We have more than 300 merchants signing up every day to start accepting those payments. And I think if India wants to move towards a corruption-free and an efficient society, I think digital payments is the way to go.
All right, so we've got takes in from Harshil Mathur of and Mrinal Sinha of MobiKwik. Gentlemen, please hold on because we do have Mr. Mahesh Murthy back as well. Mahesh, I was just asking you this and you were answering it. Now we just heard out two players from the fintech industry, from the startup industry, who are direct beneficiaries of it. You are a big champion of startups in this country. I want to understand, but you're not really gung-ho about this, urgent digitization that seems to be taking place. You've just heard out what Razorpay and MobiKwik have to say. They both are great beneficiaries, and so are the Paytms and the Citrus Pays of the world. Would you still be cynical considering the fact that a huge chunk of the startup industry is going to benefit out of this?
It's easy for me to go gung-ho and say, yes, yippee-dee-da-doo day, because we've gone up, we had a base of 2 million, it went up by 30% to 2.6 million or whatever. But I'm sitting here and talking as a citizen. The truth of the matter here is that this is going to hurt more people than it benefits. All right. the benefits of being cashless have not been clearly or easily explained to everybody. In fact, does seem that this entire demonetization exercise cost 1.5 lakh crores and is going to bring in less than that of black money. So it's actually going to be a net negative, and it's going to cut down the GDP and have us coming back to grow again. I'm not yet clear what was the urgent hurry to do this. I'm not clear. Was it the assembly elections? What was it? Why are we just focusing on this as opposed to focusing on the motives for doing this? Is 100% going cashless fine? Yeah, but are we anywhere near it? I would say it's 2016. We'll be probably closer to it by 2020, right? We can talk all of the noise that we want now. It's not going to happen, that soon. I'm not sure what the killing hurry was. It'll happen. It'll take time. We're ready at the server end. We're not ready at the client end. We don't have enough Indians with the devices or with the cards, with the ability to use this. We will still be having 200-300 million Indians outside of this net. That's the population of the United States inside India that will not be able to take benefits from this. So for me, I view this entire news as a distraction from what it's supposed to be, from the entire talk on black money and demonetization. It's a nice distraction. It's like, it's something we're trying to bring in the future. I'm unclear as to the hurry, the reason for the hurry, and unclear as to the reason for the global benefits. I mean, seriously, if you were to ask me, saving 40 paisa or 50 paisa on a liter of petrol by using my debit card or credit card isn't really going to hurt me much.
Absolutely.
Very much.
Mahesh, point well taken.
Help me very much either.
Point well taken. Point well taken. You are unclear about demonetization, but very clear when it comes to your views on demonetization. I'll give you that. So on that note, let's take it to Mr. Hari Menon, co-founder and CEO of BigBasket.com. Mr. Menon, you've been hearing out what Mr. Mahesh Murthy has been talking about. He's a big champion of startups in this country. He's a big champion of technology as an enabler in this country. And he is not entirely convinced about just one thing. Not that digitization or going cashless is bad, but what is the tearing hurry? How would you react to that?
Actually, my only belief is that, whether it is done now or whether it's done in 2020, I don't think, things will be very different, right? And I think decisions like this need to be taken, in a bit of a hurry, because, that's the only way we can bring about change. It is painful for people, and I agree with Mahesh, on that point that obviously people are going through a lot of pain, and this is likely to continue. But what I fundamentally believe is that, whether you do it now or do it later, right? I don't think this pain would be any lesser, actually. And so in my opinion, I think it's best done earlier, and people will go through the pain. The Prime Minister said this. Maybe it's a little longer than what people anticipated, but I think the timing was right.
Right. I believe we have Sanjay Swamy back, this time on the phone line. Sanjay, just to sum up, Razorpay, MobiKwik, BigBasket, they're pretty gung-ho on the whole demonetization drive, the incentives announced by the finance minister. Mahesh Murthy is not convinced yet. He says, what's the tearing hurry as of now, that this is going to cause a lot of pain. What is your own take that, are the benefits, is the pain really going to outweigh the gain in this respect?
So definitely the pain will be there in the short term, and there's no avoiding it. And probably things could have been done, a little more structured and planned, but we are where we are. And I think the government is now, doubling down and accelerating a lot of the policy changes that were required, that were, in my mind, were long overdue. And, making digital payments more attractive. I think the fact of the matter is certainly in the metros and in tier 1 probably you're not going to see too much of pain because the acceptance infrastructure is there, and I think the government is doubling down to try to scale up the acceptance infrastructure. So there is going to be a bit of pain, and unfortunately it's going to be a few months, but there is no good time to do this, right? Whenever we would have done it, we would have had this experience. And I think I agree more with Hari that, there is no good time or bad time. We just have to bite the bullet and do it. And this is not about bringing everybody into the ecosystem. That's a long ways out. I think we're talking, as I said, India had 2 to 3% digital transactions. Even if we scale it up to 10% and eventually to probably 30% as a steady state, that would be a significant increase over the next 2 to 3 years. So that's what we're looking at, and I think now is as good a time as any to pull the trigger on this.
Right.
I personally would like to see frankly a lot more incentives.
Right. Thanks for that, Sanjay. closing comments really. I want to start with MobiKwik. What potential do you see to really target a huge chunk of India that's not digital now? What else can companies like a MobiKwik, like a Paytm do in this respect? Mrinal.
Look, we are going all out to make sure people from every walk of life, people in rural India, semi-urban, urban India can all adopt digital payments, right? So whether you are, whether you are somebody who has an email address or not, you can give a missed call and get an app and start accepting payments tomorrow. You don't have to have an email address. You don't have to go to the Google Play Store. You can operate an app in Hindi, Telugu, Gujarati, Marathi, and it's not just limited to English. So we are working overtime to make sure that people across the spectrum, people in rural India, urban India, anyone can start accepting payments tomorrow. We are trying to basically get our voice out there to let everyone know that you can download MobiKwik Lite and start accepting payments from tomorrow. And you do not have to be English educated. You don't have to have an email address. You don't have to have a high-speed internet connection. If you have an edge which is less than 2G speed, you can download this in 25 seconds. That's our promise. We are watching out for all of this country. We are going for people in the villages and the remotest towns as well. This is not just about tier 1 cities.
Right. On that note, I must thank our power-packed panel. We had a representation from pretty much everyone. Sanjay Swamy, a key player in the payment space. We had Menon from Big Basket, two direct beneficiaries, Razorpay, MobiKwik, as well as Mahesh Murthy, to really give us a more balanced perspective as far as demonetization is concerned. It's early days yet. We really have to wait and see if the impact of digital payments will be far-reaching, and again, if the pain is going to outweigh the gain or vice versa. But with that, Krishna, it's back to you in the studio.
Chandra, we have a lot of food for thought over the next few days in terms of the announcements that have been made. We in the big cities are going to continue using our Zomatos and our Ubers, Olas, fresh menu, what have you. But what's going to happen to the rest of us here in this country? And with that, we wrap things up here on this very special edition of ET Now Startup Central. Thank you so much for watching. Don't go anywhere. Keep it with ET Now.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.